sure there are people even here, I mean, at this conference, who are scholars at universities in their home countries, who would be willing to come for free, basically, just if you could cover their expenditures for a semester or even a year with no salary. And that's something we could take advantage of. I mean, I'm sure there will be plenty of people, and not only from Palestinian descent, who would be willing to do this. The other thing, it's a general comment, why education is so important for Palestinians, but I mean education about Palestine. I think it's because when you talk about media coverage, the Israelis have a propaganda machine that we cannot match. I mean, they have a unified message that we don't have. They have an access to media that we probably would never match. And of course, they have an access to economic means that we don't have. So that's an uphill battle. I don't say that it's not a battle we should take on, but it's difficult. But when it comes to academic debates, I mean, you have to appeal to logically consistent arguments. You have to appeal to verifiable facts. You have to appeal to independent sources. So you can, that's an arena in which you can match the Israeli strength, the Israeli might, when it comes to media coverage. And it's not a coincidence that most of the progressive, many progressive leaders in the Israeli society come from the academic world. And no one has done more to uncover the truth about the Israeli official version of the story, of the history of the conflict, than revisionist Israeli historians, like Ilan Pappé, for instance. So this is the realm in which we can actually fight and win. And what you produce in the academic world would be inputs for public debate, for debate in the media. And even
this is education about
Palestine. Yeah. And just that in some instances, like in the case of Ilan Pappé again, the same intellectuals producing this knowledge will become public intellectuals debating on the media about these topics.
One of the things that made me think so much is the mentality, the Palestinian mentality, how we understand education. I was very happy when you gave this definition. I know myself because I was studying in Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, what kind of education we are talking about. In Sweden, we call it to encourage the person to be a lonely wolf, to do not, you don't get the training to have the ability to communicate with others, or have the ability to teamwork with others. I know that my father and my mother, they were just pushing me to be a doctor, and I said to them, go and kill yourself. I don't want to be a doctor. I want to educate myself in this way, not in this way. And this is one of the main issues, how we understand education. I don't agree with you, Mr. Wassel. It's not just in school. You have to go lower. You have to begin in the kindergarten. Yes, and I hope, and I know something about how is it going here in schools, kindergartens, that they begin us, and some years ago, to train, to educate children, not to educate, but to train them to work together. And it's from this level we have to begin. Other issue that I am just thinking about, that why don't we try to pick something and go further with it in this session, instead of have higher förväntningar, my Swedish expectation. Maybe it's better if we take a little bit lower expectation so we can help ourselves to produce something from this. So, yeah.
Hi, my name is Hamed Hamed, and I'm from Boston in the United States. And I'll try to be very quick. So one thing I do is I've done a lot of work with Palestinian refugees, and I just wanted a clarification on whether the ministry works, and is the UN the one that runs the schools and the refugee camps, or is it the ministry? Just curiosity. And also one key thing I think we should put on the agenda is also focus on education for girls. I think there's also a lot, something I've seen in Palestinian society is that education for girls is only until a point where they can be married, and then girls are withdrawn from school, and how that could also be incorporated. And then one idea that I'd like to bring up that we could discuss later is in the United States there's a program called Teach for America, which recruits college graduates to work for 2 years in schools in underprivileged communities. And one thing I thought of for people like my age who recently graduated from college is something like Teach for Palestine, where it could be both a cultural program, because you could bring back people who are interested, people who are maybe Palestinian background or Arab background, or also just American, or anywhere in the world. But to teach in schools, they bring expertise, skills, and then also cultural exchange and kind of
thought, again, which is a possibility for discussion that picks up on your earlier mention of ICT. Might it be possible, and I'm thinking, I guess I teach in a university, so I'm thinking of that context, to use ICT means to deliver lectures and educational content from faculty around the world to Palestinian institutions. So it may not always require them to physically come here. If it is possible to use the technology to deliver on the ground here, this network might be an ideal vehicle for facilitating that, and certainly were that to be possible, I would be happy to participate.
بتأمل إنه من خلال سواء الحديث أو التعليق أو السؤال إنه عن التعليم إنه ناخذ بعين الاعتبار ملاحظات التالية بسيطة إنه التعليم إنه إحنا هون عم نتحدث مش بس عن التعليم في المدارس أو الجامعات. هاي شغلة إنه نتحدث عن التعليم بمختلف المستويات، بدءا بالبيت للطفل اللي بدأ يحبو يسير، حتى انه بدخل المدرسه وبدخل الجامعه، وحتى انه اللي تخرجوا من الجامعات برضه بدهم تعليم. يعني
I want to comment here that we, in his opinion, of course, we should look at not only at education, learning in schools and universities. We should look at all levels of education, including the toddler in the house, kindergarten, and further on.